Good morning, good evening. How are you all? What I wanted to talk about today is the concern I am seeing with people, and I get this request a lot of the time. So the request I get a lot of the time is people saying to me, Sarah, I've got a whole lot of content. How do I decide? Or where do I begin to start structuring my content? And so my response to everybody, either of those situations, same response, is you need to be crafting some learning outcomes. So you need to get really specific about what it is that you want to teach these people. So for example, it's not enough for me to say, I help online entrepreneurs to design and refine their online courses, right? It's not enough for me to say that. That's still too wide. Where would I begin to design a course or a learning program around that? Where would I even begin, right? So I need to start taking a step back and say, okay, so if I'm going to create, say, let's say it's a 6-week program, what is it that I want people to be able to be, say, do, and think differently at the end of that? So I'll say that again. What is it I want people to be able to be, say, think, and do differently at the end of that? And if you are in the space, you might even want to include feel. So what do you want people to be, say, do, think, feel differently at the end of that period of time, 6 weeks time? Now, here's where we also want to include our customers as well. So what is it do you think that they want to be, say, do, think, feel differently at the end of the 6 weeks time as well? Okay, so as we're starting to think that, we're going to be noting down things. So I want them to be, in my case, it might be, I want them to be more confident about, I want them to be confident about their lesson choices. I want them to be able to use a variety of models to be able to teach and show their material. What do I want them to be able to think? I want them to be able to think sequentially. I want them to be able to think sequentially in terms of designing their learning. I want them to be able to think about the neuroscience that goes on in people's brains, and I want them to be able to think about the adult learners that they have in front of them and how they're best going to harness their talents. What do I want them to be able to do differently? Well, I want them to be able to design better training programs. That's what I want them to be able to do differently. What does that look like? That looks like training programs where people don't get stuck, they don't get overwhelmed, they don't get bored. Training programs that actually deliver the results that people are asking to have or are purchasing. What do I want them to be able to feel differently? I want them to feel confident. I want them to feel like they really know that they rocked this one. They really rocked out this course and it is an absolute winner, and I want them to feel proud as well. So those are kind of some ideas around what we want to start to get to when we're thinking about either refining our own content that we already have in existence or designing brand new fresh content. What do you want people to be, say, do, think, feel differently? If we start thinking along those lines, we'll start to get a little bit delving further into it, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to harness what is the actual outcomes of this program. But think today about what is it that you want people to be, say, do, think, feel differently, because if you can start to think along those lines, you'll be really ready and prepared for tomorrow when we start talking about learning outcomes. I just wanted to jump on and raise that because I'm hearing a lot of people sort of concerned. And what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are very much in divergent thinking. If you've heard me talk about that before, divergent thinking versus convergent thinking, it's a really, really key piece in this equation as we want to get people into, well, I want to be able to get you guys into a convergent space so then you know exactly what you're designing for and that you are no longer overwhelmed. Until then, as we say here in New Zealand, ite anō, and I will see you next time. Bye.